between May. Well done. We will have, being that she was our oldest Spofest performer to date, we will have her granddaughter performing for us at our Halloween show. So hopefully that turns out. I want to give a quick update on our statistics. Right now we have 185 Twitter followers for Spofest. We're really proud of that. And we got about 25 Facebook likes as well. I want to give a shout out to Mag Grizzly and Terry Ballard for their help and support in getting this event set up. And Tony Schaefer over here as well. So let's move on to our next reader. Oh, by the way, we have a featured reader tonight, this afternoon. Her name is Mickey Grove, and she will be up in about 20 to 30 minutes. Right now, our second reader, Steven Dotson.
Thank you very much. Thank you, James, Mr. Spofest. And this is to the spirit of the Queen of the Prairies. I, as well, was a neophyte under the great Debbie Noland. I say great because so many writers that have come through Spofest, published, just students, they mention Debbie. She's a hub. She, James and I, when we were going to State Fair Community College, that's how we got our start doing spoken word. We performed spoken word before, but not really in front of people. Well, Mom, she heard. She heard us upstairs. It's a big house, wood floors, echoed quite a bit. Now, I performed at the July Spofest, and what I'm doing is I'm reading a longer piece. I'm reading basically episodes, but thanks to some of my supporters who on Friday helped me sort of polish this piece, what I'm creating is sort of each Spofest I'm going to read a different piece, but they stand alone. So thanks to my wife and James for helping me round off this work. This is a fiction piece, and it takes place in Kansas City. And the three main characters, Henry, David, and Susan, basically, they started before this actual writing came about. Speaking of spoken word, James and I were in a sketch comedy team known as Team Mutation, and these characters were developed then. So, for instance, if you're familiar with the British comedy Absolutely Fabulous, that started as a sketch comedy, and then they wrote it up and sort of thing. So it's the same effect there. But just to catch people up, it's a story about Kansas City. It's an American story, but it's also about addiction. It's about different types of addiction. Legal, illegal, pharmaceutical, carbohydrates, religion, relationships, all addictions, and the characters are each based around a separate addiction. And I'd like to start, Jim has been putting an audio studio together at his house, and I began writing some lyrics, and after I turned 30, it somehow became important for me to create American art, not something different, something the same, something based on the traditions, the things that came before me. So I'm working up some lyrics to create some songs at Mr. Bryant's studio, writing off of poetry, like Tom Waits, like Bob Dylan. There's a story there. And so I'd like to share a song, the lyrics of the song, about the story, so it'll catch everybody up to the basic tone of it. It's called Of Chemical Bondage. Reborn through the bond of street kids, Henry befriend black market, the golden summer procured unique connections, but the fall saw the end to home free friends. Shake now, do the shake, fixer religious and lovers, do the shake now, do the shake. The death of radio shoots forward, a rather lonely man, a curator looking for a new life. David met Henry, then Susan, all with a different addiction, entering a life of crime. The fixers, religious and lovers, brought wealth to triumvirate, but if they don't back away from it, they'll sell all their limbs to be straight. Shake now, do the shake. So as you can tell, it's a song, has a chorus to it. And so you can get the sort of the feeling of a friendship there, but also a confusing cluster of addictions. If everyone here saw the article, the interview with Mr. Bryant, with John Hanson from the Sedalia Democrat, I'm referenced in it. So I am famous now, by the way. And they only brought me up because I was unique in the fact that I'm the only male performer today. And so I basically selected a piece that's mainly from a Venusian perspective. It's around Susan, the female character, of course. And this is on Baltimore Avenue in Kansas City. Susan feeds the meter on Baltimore Avenue and makes her Hyundai's alarm system squeak a second time for good measure. Welcome to 106.1 FM, how can I help you? The secretary asks. Susan leans against the counter to look down at the small voice. I'm here to take the tour. The secretary looks down at the desk calendar. Susan can see the back of her head. She thinks, I wouldn't give people the back of your head so easy. Susan assesses how much time it would take to grab the nearby statue of a gold and marble microphone and bash her on the head. She thought, even if she was looking up, she wouldn't have much time to defend herself. Susan accidentally says out loud, hell, I could just grab it like I was looking at it. The secretary looks up, not sure what the stranger was referencing. Susan quickly looks to the side, slightly shocked when her eyes fall upon the statue. Hoping her gaze doesn't give away her thoughts, she begins noticing other items of interest throughout the room. The secretary looks back down. Are you Susan Anna Johnson? Susan stands up straight and pats the side of her hair. That's me. The secretary disappears behind a door. Susan looks around the office. Now, how is she going to walk out on me like that? When the woman emerged from the hallway behind Susan, she was surprisingly tall. The miniskirt the secretary is wearing makes it obvious that she wants to show off her legs. At this moment, Susan feels like she has lost a real opportunity at bashing in the skinny white girl's head. Not that she would go through with it. Nevertheless, the missed opportunity is acknowledged. Disco interlude. Right this way, Miss Johnson. The tall, skinny white girl with skull intact props open the door with a high heel. Oh, by the way, Debbie is not responsible for my style of writing. If it seems rather abrasive. Susan turns away from the counter and strides confidently past her. The hallway seems dark. She looks through a glass door at a DJ booth. She turns to the right, then hears a strange, loud popping noise. The next thing Susan sees is something that will stick in her mind for the rest of her life. From a door on the right, about 12 feet in front of her, emerges the silhouette of a man grasping what appears to be a long guitar neck. Susan can see a perfectly straight shaft about 14 inches long and leading the shadowy profile of a skinny man. The soft light that emanates only in the centermost part of the hallway reveals the face of Crazy Davy. From inside the room, someone begins drumming. It sounds tribal with a solid beat. Crazy Davy lifts what Susan notices as an oddly shaped electric guitar. The secretary yells over the drumming, "This is Susan Anna! She is here for the tour!" Davy turns and disappears back into the room. Susan follows. As soon as Susan turns into the doorway, the sound is amplified by virtue of acoustics. A long-haired young man in coveralls is playing the drums. Crazy Davy places the oddly shaped guitar on a metal frame stand. Crazy Davy then spins on a boot heel and begins dancing by hopping on one leg a number of times, then switching to the other as Henry continues drumming. Susan stands still, taking it in for a moment. She then steps forward and begins to dance as well. After about 40 seconds, Henry stops playing and Crazy Davy, breathing hard, says, "I need a cigarette," and proceeds to cough. Susan checks out the drummer. He looks familiar, but all white boys in coveralls look strikingly similar. The young man places the drumsticks together on the snare drum. Crazy Davy catches his breath. "Hi, you must be Susanna, I'm Davy." Susan thinks she heard Crazy Davy call her Susanna. She thought that was cute. "Is that your real name?" she asked, deciding not to correct him. "Yeah, David Crimshaw, and our drummer today is Henry." "Hey, Henry, what's your last name?" Henry looks up from adjusting the kick drum pedal. Are we exchanging last names?" "Why, are you a criminal?" Susan says. David laughs abruptly, then sniffs. Susan turns away from Henry and says to David, "So how long have you been in Kansas City?" David sniffs. "My whole life. How about you, Susanna? You mean you've been here all along? What high school did you go to?" "Center." "Oh my God, when did you graduate?" "Oh, 84. "Oh, you're older than me, but that's fine." David sniffs. "So what kind of music are you into?" "Oh, I listen to old stuff, new stuff. I just like to sing along." "Great, well this station's been around since the 1950s. Check out our oldest section here." Susan follows David closely, listening to the story of the radio station and famous musicians who have visited the station. Henry listens in. Susan's close proximity to David and her hushed tones are naturally exclusionary. It is here that David is in his zone. He puts on a convincing show and a quality tour experience. The opportunity to give a tour of the radio museum is a rarity these days, but David had no idea this would be the last radio museum tour he would ever lead. Susan, David, and Henry have not realized that this chance meeting sets in motion a partnership in crime. Thank you.